Hi, I'm Chef Michael Bradford, and today we'll be making black bean burgers. This week's theme is how I can make a difference in the world, and today we'll be making a difference in the world with less cow farts.
Okay, scholars, so we're going to start off with a hand washing tutorial. So the first thing you're going to do is turn on the warm water and get your hands nice and wet, and then you're going to grab some soap and develop a nice thorough lather. And because Chef Michael Bradford is cooking food today, he'll be bringing that lather up along his wrists so that if he reaches in to grab anything, that part of his body is also clean. And now rinsing thoroughly with warm water again, just making sure you get all those suds off. And you can also run through with cold water after you finish with the warm water, just to make sure you get all of the glycerin from the soap off of your hands, and so that stuff doesn't get in your food. So here's a little overview of some of the ingredients we'll be using today, because we're making black bean burgers from scratch. So taking a big can of black beans, we're just going to empty the contents of that can into a large bowl. And then we're going to add a generous amount of salt to that, just to make sure that all the flavor of the beans gets brought out. And the salt is also going to help to soak up some of that moisture. And then we're cracking some pepper in there and mixing that all together. We're also going to add a capful of distilled white vinegar. Now we're going to start making some sauce. So we've got some garlic in there in a hot pan, and then also cracking some pepper, some salt, some liquid smoke, just a little bit. A little goes a long way. And then some molasses. And this will start to smell like barbecue sauce. So just drizzle that molasses in there, and because molasses has a ton of sugar, it's going to help this bubble up quite a bit. We're also adding some A1 sauce and just going to mix the contents all together. Keep lifting it off the heat, and a little bit of chili powder too for some spice. But you see how it's bubbling like that up in the pan? We're going to turn the heat down and just continue to mix all those ingredients together, and then pour them in a separate bowl to set aside. Now slicing an onion in half, we're going to chop this up and add it to a NutriBullet. But first we're removing the icky parts, popping that into our NutriBullet cup. You can also do this in a blender. Now adding 1 egg to the beans that we mixed there before, and adding that sauce we just made on our stove. We're going to mix all of this together. This is going to help our bean burgers kind of stick together. So all the ingredients are going to stick to the egg. Now adding some arugula to that NutriBullet cup and some parsley. Okay, then we're going to add a little bit of the distilled white vinegar. Crack some pepper in there and a little bit of salt as well. Perfect. And then we're going to mix that all together. And then add the contents to our black bean mixture. We're going to mix all that together now. And continue blending the ingredients. This time we have the beans in there. And then we're going to make our own breadcrumbs. So heating some olive oil on the stove and then slicing up some bread. This is just going to help thicken up the bean mixture. So you can either buy breadcrumbs or just make your own. Those are going to get put into a cast iron skillet, which will get placed in the oven. Now we're making our mayo. So we've got some chipotle peppers, some more onion, a half an avocado, a little bit more parsley, and 3 generous tablespoons of mayonnaise. This is going to be our chipotle avocado mayo. So you can see Chef Michael Bradford is blending that and then removing the breadcrumbs from the oven. So that's what your breadcrumbs should look like. Or right now they're in crouton form, but we're gonna blend them up to make the crumbs. So that's what it should look like after, and you're gonna incorporate that into your bean mixture to thicken it up before we put it on the stove to make our patties. So we're just adding some there. Mix. Once it's mixed, you can place it in the pan like a patty, and then he's prepping the burger. So we've got the chipotle mayo on there, we've got an avocado, some tomato, a pickle on the side, of course, and then some parsley for some greens, and then placing that black bean patty on the bun. He also added some cheese there, that's optional, and that is the finished product. It was so delicious.
All right, this is black bean burger, and aren't they tasty?
Yeah, they're really good.
I'm really glad you like this, guy.
Bye, everybody.